Okay guys, so I'm here with my laptop today. It's going to be kind of a long video. I'm going to try to make it as quick as possible. But like Blue Collar Hot Rods with his YouTube channel and stuff, I've been helping him with some tuning and setting up his VCM scanner and stuff like that. So I thought maybe some of you guys that also watch my channel may want to know how to set up the scanner and log some things. So we're going to jump right into it. I got my laptop right here with Hptuners VCM scanner open, and first thing we're going to look at over here is the channel side. So first three here is just going to be your basic vehicle stuff. It's going to be just the engine RPM, vehicle speed, throttle position, and that's going to be that. The next three is going to be your engine coolant temp, oil pressure, trans fluid, just vehicle health stuff. Make sure everything's good there. Alright, first one, next three is going to be the first stuff as far as getting into tuning. I like to look at my base advance, so that's just your base advance before any other tables pull anything. And then this is the actual spark. The next one is timing advance. That's the actual spark that the engine's going to have. Alright, and then knock retard, get into knock, how much is pulling out. I can go over real quick just like how you add a channel. So like say if you wanted to add the base advance, you would right click over here, go add channel, and then like this would be engine, spark, advance, and timing advance, base advance. They're right there. So you would just double click them and it would add it over here to your channels. So that's how you add these over here. Also, another quick way to do it is like say now we want to look at engine coolant temp. You can just type it up here in the top and it'll pull up anything with that word in it. So engine coolant temp, engine RPM there. Okay, so let's get back to it. The next three I like to log is the intake manifold absolute pressure. That's going to be your map sensor. Then cylinder air mass, and then your mass airflow sensor. So that's going to be your next. That's going to be used for tuning your fueling, basically how much air is coming in, so you can adjust how much fuel to add in your tune for it. Next one we're going to get into is going to be just fuel system stuff. So fuel system number one status, and that's going to let you know if you're like in open loop, closed loop, or power enrichment. This one is the air fuel ratio commanded. I'll use that just mainly for filter for my fuel tuning. Or if you got a wideband, you would log that and then also log your wideband and set up a graph over there to the side for that, but we're not going to get into setting up a wideband today. Next is going to be your short. Let me slide this over so y'all can see it a little better. So short-term fuel trim, bank 1. Long-term fuel trim, bank 1. Now if you have a 4-cylinder or any inline motor, you'll only need to log bank 1. If you're a V engine, V6, V8, then you'll need bank 2 as well. So short-term, long-term, bank 1, bank 2. Next one's going to be your injector pulse width. This is, again, inline motor, bank 1. A V motor, V6, V8, you'll need bank 1 and bank 2. This is going to use to calculate your injector duty cycle. Next one's going to be, I like to just log the intake air temp. And then also, this is something I do. I see a lot of people actually don't do it, but it's actually very useful for tuning, is log your engine torque. And then we can set up a user math, which I'm going to show you a little later in the video, of how to change that to horsepower. So you can actually get a torque and horsepower graph using the scanner for your vehicle. And it's pretty accurate especially if you're running factory injectors and stuff, as long as your injector data and all that stuff's accurate, it will give you pretty accurate crank numbers. For, again, this is rated at crank horsepower, crank torque. Okay, so that's pretty much going to be the stuff you want, the channels you want to log. So now we'll slide over and we'll get into the graphs. Alright, so first one you're going to want is for like your VE table, speed density tuning with your map sensor. What you're going to want for this is you're going to want to go under parameter. You want to slide down, do maths, and this is going to be a math that's already set up. You don't have to do this. Fuel trims. For V motor again, you're going to want LTFT plus STFT. That's going to be both banks. If you're an inline motor, you'll just want to do bank ones only. Alright, so you just click that. Change the name of mine. So it's going to pull up that. Change it to whatever you want to name. I want to do speed density because that's what this table is going to be used for. And then down here, column axis. So this is going to be, you're going to want to match this up to your tune file. So let's see here. In Gen 4 stuff, like this Colorado is a Gen 4 setup. Your your speed density table, your map sensor VE table is going to be under Edit. You go Virtual Volumetric Efficiency, and it's right there. Okay, now for a Gen 3, like Silverado and stuff, so Gen 3 Silverado, let me open one up real quick. Okay, so this is going to be my race truck. It's already opening up. Your Gen 3 stuff is going to be right here. Engine tab, airflow, and main VE. So this is going to be your same table. Okay, so the next thing you want to look at is, open this back up, setting your table up. So you see here on the column row we have RPM. What you're going to want to do is column it, or to set that up, you go column axis, and I like clicking this button right here because it only shows channels that we're logging or stuff that is logging to narrow it down a little bit, and then you can go type in engine and it'll be right here, engine RPM. So you'd select that, all this stuff will come up, and then you're going to want to set your values. So we'll do that real quick. Control A will select all, and then go to whichever one's the one you need, and you can right click in the top corner of these, column axis, copy labels. And while you're here, see what the one on your left side is. So this is manifold absolute pressure. So we'll paste in those RPMs. It's going to be Control V to paste. And you see here, row axis, we're wanting manifold absolute pressure. These are all the numbers we need. Where you get those is the same thing, manifold absolute pressure. There's all your numbers for your rows. So you would go row axis, copy labels. You hit Control A, Control A, and then you can do Control V to paste. Alright, and then again, you would go in, same thing we did with the engine RPM, and select manifold absolute pressure for your row. make sure it's in kPa to match up with here. See, it's in kPa. Alright, and then that's going to be your VE table speed density stuff for you doing your fueling on your map sensor. Next one's going to be your mass airflow. You pretty much can just set this up the same way. So it's going to be that same long-term fuel trim plus short-term fuel trim math that we did for the speed density. Just name it math calibration instead. And then we got to set up the column and row axis. So we close this. Now this is going to be pretty much the same on the Gen 3 and Gen 4. You'll see, you go under airflow again, you'll see one that's math, airflow versus frequency. Alright, and we're going to just take, you don't have a row axis on this, you only have the column, so you just copy labels for your column axis, and it's going to be mass airflow frequency. So Control V to paste those values, and the parameter we're looking at is mass airflow. Oh, sorry, hold on, there's one we're missing. Just realized this, so if you look there, we're missing this. The math is grams per second, doesn't give you an option for frequency. And that's because we need to actually log a different one. So over here I selected the wrong one. I did the SAE, which is mass airflow rate. We need to log mass airflow frequency. Okay, so now we got that straight. Go over here, graphs layout, go back to the math, change the one we're using. Alright, so now we got mass airflow sensor frequency. Okay, so now that's going to be your mass airflow sensor setup. So you got your frequency up at the top, and it's going to fill in the short-term, long-term fuel trims, how much it's pulling. Next one we're going to want to set up is spark. So we're going to go in, parameter, the one you're going to want to log is spark advanced. You just pull that the same as we did the other one. Title it spark. Same thing here again. You just go to your spark table. It's going to be right here, spark, high octane. You can use that. Do your column, row, copy and paste. It's going to be RPM and your air mass sensor. So you see here, you go in VCM scanner, set engine speed, copy and paste again your RPMs across the top, and then your cylinder air mass, and also look at is grams is what it's going off of, and copy your row labels and paste here. So we're grams, mine's already pasted in, good to go there. Alright, next one's going to be your knock retard. So the parameter for that is going to be spark retard, maybe not maybe actually will be listed as not retard, but yeah. So spark retard is the parameter you're going to go in and choose, like we've been choosing the other parameters. Column axis is going to be engine speed, and the values is going to, these are going to be the same as your spark table, because that's all you're looking at is where in your spark table you're running into knock. So yeah, just engine speed again, the same values for the engine speed, your air mass again, same values there. Alright, now this is going to be more tables I set up that I don't see a lot of people use, but it's beneficial to me for tuning on the street, and I don't know why more people don't use it, but I like to log my torque graph. So remember down there I showed you a channel where we're logging the engine torque, so you go in engine parameter, engine torque, log it, and then the RPMs you can just set what you want. I think I got it set every 250 RPM for the column, so my column rows is going to be every 250 RPMs. And now for my row axis, I actually have throttle position sensor for the throttle percentage, and I have 90 in here and 100. And the reason I have that is basically anything 90% and below will go in this top, so just all the junk I don't really want to look at, I put there. And then everything 90% and above, which is basically wide open throttle, will go in this bottom row. So I can actually see how much torque is producing throughout the RPM range at wide open throttle. Now the next one I have is set up same way, but it's for horsepower. Now this one you have to do a custom user math to set up. So you see here my parameter is torque to horsepower math. So the way you set up a custom user math like that is you go, try not to fly through this, like I said I'm trying to keep time down as much as possible, but math parameters under tools, and then you're going to go math, yours is probably going to look like this, but it's going to be math users, and then we'll go to mine right here. So this is my user math for torque to horsepower. And where you're going to set it up, as you know, horsepower is just a calculation of torque versus RPM. So this first one, now mine's going to say edit variable. You're going to have to set this up from scratch. So you would go to start with new variable for you, and the first parameter you're going to want is the engine torque. So we'll hit OK, and then you'll get this number in here. Alright, and then you do your little asterisk or multiplication sign or whatever. That's what the VCM scanner uses to know it needs to multiply. Alright, and this next one, again, you're going to want to hit new variable to start from new, and the next one you're going to want to do is engine speed. So you're going to have the torque, engine torque reading, space, asterisk, multiply, space, engine RPM variable, reading, space, divided by, and as you know, torque horsepower always crosses at 52 because of the math function. So it's divided by 5252. And that's going to convert your torque reading to a horsepower reading. And then you can take that into this, and you would go under your parameter, alright, and then you'd scroll down to mass, user defined, and then your user defined mass are in here, so torque to horsepower. And you would select that. So now you'll have a horsepower number. Okay, and then for your column row, engine speed again with the RPMs you want to set. Again, mine's every 250 RPM, and then I have the same throttle position, 90, 100. So that way I can kind of isolate my wide open throttle horsepower readings. Okay, so that's going to pretty much cover the graphs, the main ones you need for your basic tuning. Now we'll get into our charts. Alright, first chart, I'm logging the engine RPM. Again, select parameter, go through your parameters and find RPM. And then this is to scale your graph. So I have it set to 7,000 RPM. That's good. I ain't gonna see over 7,000 RPM. Next one is going to be my horsepower graph, and I'm gonna be doing tuning on the Colorado. It shouldn't see over 250 horsepower at the crank, so we'll scale it from 0 to 250 on the horsepower. And then the following one I'm gonna log is the torque. So again, 250, 0 for the torque. Alright, and the next one is injector duty cycle. Now this is default math. You already have it in the VCM scanner. So you would just go, this again, mass, fuel flow, injector duty cycle. And like I said, that's already in the scanner. You don't even have to set up the math for that. And that's going to look at basically your injector pulse width and stuff to figure out how much injector percentage you're using to see if you need more injector, if you're running out of injector. Next one is I have set for the graph is the spark retard. Basically we start getting into knock. So that's parameter again for the ignition retard. And then also down here is where you see this color. That's how you go in and select what color you want the line to be, so you can kind of tell the difference between them when they start charting across here. Okay guys, that's pretty much going to cover setting up your scanner for your basic fuel and spark tuning, as well as just your basic monitoring of the vehicle. I will be using this in a couple upcoming videos. We're going to take the Colorado out and I'm going to walk you through the whole setting it up for tuning, like actually setting the vehicle up in the tune to adjust the fueling and the spark and everything on it. I'm going to be doing the Colorado. So hope this video helped you out with setting the scanner up. If you could, like, subscribe down below, and I'll try to get some more content out to you. I really appreciate you guys, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.